Finally one, a fiend out of hell, began to work his evil in the world. Grendel was the name of this grim demon, haunting the marches, marauding round the heath and the desolate fens. He had dwelt for a time in misery among the banished monsters. The god-cursed brute was creating havoc. Greedy and grim, he grabbed 30 men from their resting places and rushed to his lair. Flushed up and inflamed from the raid, blundering back with the butchered corpses, King Hrothgar is in distress and helpless. So Grendel ruled in defiance of right, one against all, until the greatest house in the world stood empty, a deserted wallstead, for 12 winters, seasons of woe. The Lord of the Shielding suffered under his load of sorrow. And so, before long, the news was known over the whole world. When he heard about Grendel, Hygelac's Thane was on home ground over in Yeatland. There was no one else like him alive. In his day, he was the mightiest man on earth, high-born and powerful. He ordered a boat that would ply the waves. He announced his plan to sail the Swan's Road and search out that king, the famous prince who needed defenders. Greetings to Hrothgar. I am Hygelac's kinsman, one of his hall troop. When I was younger, I had great triumphs. The news of Grendel, hard to ignore, reached me at home. Sailors brought me stories of this plight you suffer in this legendary hall. How it lies deserted, empty and useless, once the evening light hides itself under the heaven's dome. I had suffered extremes and avenged the Yeots. Their enemies brought it upon themselves. I devastated them. Now I mean to be a match for Grendel. Settle the outcome in single combat. Beowulf, my friend, you have traveled here to favor us with help and to fight for us? It bothers me to have to burden anyone with all the grief Grendel has caused and the havoc he has wreaked upon us in Heorot. Our humiliations, my household guard, are on the wane. Fate sweeps them away in Grendel's clutches. But God can easily halt these raids and harrowing attacks. Are you the Beowulf who took on Brecca in the swimming match on the open sea, risking the water just to prove that you could win? It was sheer vanity made you venture out on the main deep, and no matter who tried, friend or foe, to deflect the pair of you, neither would back down. The sea test obsessed you. You waded in, embracing water, taking its measure, mastering currents, riding on the swell. The ocean swayed, winter went wild in the waves, but you vied for 7 nights, and then he outswam you, came ashore the stronger contender. Well, friend Unferth, you have had your say about Brecca and me, but it was mostly beer that was doing the talking. The truth is this. When the going was heavy in those high waves, I was the strongest swimmer of all. Each of us swam holding a sword, a naked, hard-proof blade for protection against the whale beasts. But Brecca could never move out further or faster from me than I could manage to move from him. Shoulder to shoulder, we struggled on for 5 nights, until the long flow and pitch of the waves, the perishing cold, night falling and winds from the north drove us apart. The deep boiled up, and its swallowing sent the sea brutes wild. Time and again, foul things attacked me, lurking and stalking, but I lashed out, gave as good as I got with my sword. My flesh was not for feasting on. There would be no monsters gnawing and gloating over their banquet at the bottom of the sea. Instead, in the morning, mangled and sleeping, they sloped and floated, up and dead. Now I cannot recall any fight you entered, Unferth, that bears comparison. The fact is, Unferth, if you were truly as keen or courageous as you claim to be, Grendel would never have got away with your such unchecked atrocity. Attacks on your king, havoc in Heorot, and horrors everywhere. The Yeots await Grendel's attack. Grendel strikes. The captain of evil discovered himself in a hand grip harder than anything he had ever encountered in any man on the face of the earth. The monster's whole body was in pain. A tremendous wound appeared on his shoulder. Sinews split and the bone lappings burst. His days were numbered. The end of his life was coming over him. He knew it for certain. The hero displayed high up near the roof the whole of Grendel's shoulder and arm. You have won renown. You are known to all men far and near, now and forever. Your sway is wide as the wind's home, as the sea around the cliffs. And so, my prince, I wish you a lifetime's luck and blessings to enjoy this treasure. I have heard it said by my people in Hall, counselors who live in the upland country, that they have seen two such creatures prowling the moors, huge marauders from some other world. One of these things, as far as anyone ever can discern, looks like a woman. I guarantee you, she will not get away, not to dens underground, nor upland groves, nor the ocean floor. She'll have nowhere to flee to. Endure your troubles today. Bear up and be the man I expect you to be.
Beowulf and his men set forth to destroy the unknown creature.
He went in front with a few men, good judges of the lie of the land, and suddenly discovered the dismal wood, mountain trees growing out at an angle above gray stones. The bloodshot water surged underneath. The group discovered Asher's head at the foot of the cliff. Beowulf plunged into the ocean with a great Danish sword given to him by Unfer, known as Runton. He heaved his war sword and swung his arm. The decorative blade came down ringing and singing on her head, but he soon found his battle torch extinguished. The shining blade refused to bite. Then he saw a blade that boded well, a sword in our armory, an ancient heirloom from the days of the giants, an ideal weapon, one that any warrior would envy. So the shielding's hero, hard-pressed and enraged, took a firm hold of the hilt and swung the blade in an arc, a resolute blow that bit deep into her neck bone and severed it entirely. Toppling the domed house of her flesh, she fell to the floor. The sword dripped blood. The swordman was elated. Beowulf presents the sword hilt to Hrothgar. After much celebration and gifts, Beowulf decides to return to his homeland.
Goodbye, Beowulf. Shall we meet again someday?
I am Beowulf.